Mr. Braganza, 3 minutes to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much to the honourable members of Parliament for a very critical discussion, debate, and also sets of questions. So, solutions are very important, but let me preface the solutions to, and particularly to colleagues from Africa, to refamiliarize themselves with the speech that was given by Thomas Sankara, A United Front Against Debt. I'm not going to read it, but I think that is a very useful preface for my statement to conclude. At the global level, as Shari mentioned just down the hall here, we're talking about or debating about where debt resolutions need to take place. There is a very good proposal, solid proposal, on establishing a UN intergovernmental binding process that could establish a sovereign debt restructuring mechanism, and within that set the normative formats for how debt restructuring could be done, including trying to address some of the power asymmetries that have been mentioned by a number of the honourable members here. The second part is at the national level, and this is where the rubber meets the road, in my opinion. Domestic legislation is extremely important. Here, number one is to strengthen domestic debt legislation right from contracting, utilization, servicing, and management. And that means also having provisions within domestic legislation to have dispute resolution, restructuring, all being done at the national level. So updating domestic legislation to that extent. The second one around at the national level is to have public consultation and for members of Parliament to demand that ministries of finance publish their borrowing plans and their intentions to borrow from where, under what conditions, and for what purposes. This is going to be a huge way of trying to build or rebuild trust in the role of Parliament, in the role of government in its borrowing efforts. Third and finally, it is extremely important for parliamentarians to call the executive, but also call the bureaucracies in their countries to Parliament to answer questions. This could be done through the committees, which I know many parliaments already do have existence, but it's to demand that ministers come and answer questions around their public borrowing. And related to this, and very lastly, is to establish perhaps debt management offices that are independent of the ministries of finance or the national treasuries that can carry out analysis, cost-benefit analysis on how debt management can be done at the national level. And all of these proposals can be found in two very important documents. One is a civil society submission that was made to the process that is ongoing. So it's we can share that with the organizers.
Please.
And the second one is the African Borrowing Charter, which is a document that the organization I represent developed in 2013 and is currently being updated, that spells out good principles around how responsible borrowing and lending can be done at the national level. Thank you.
Fascinating. And